Good afternoon and welcome to Professional Learning as an instrument for building collaboration and improving student achievement. I'm Brian Washburn, and this video is being submitted for my class at the Crown College in Organizational Change and Improvement. Looking forward to hopefully an educational time for you. It has been an educational time for me putting this together. When we talk about professional learning, we talk about collaboration, we talk about any kind of change within a school. We're talking about, to a certain extent, upsetting the apple cart as it currently exists. We're asking teachers to do something extra. We're asking them to join us, hopefully join us, not work on their own, but to join us in that which would improve themselves individually, that which would improve them as a staff, and then ultimately that which would improve us as a school. So when we talk about improving professional learning, we need to recognize the fact that teacher behaviors and attributes, the personalities, the way they behave in their class, have a positive or a negative impact on student learning. And the positive is good. We want to reinforce that. We want to, if we could bottle it and share it with those teachers that sometimes struggle, that would be great. But we also all have some negative attributes, some negative things that may make learning difficult for our students. We want to try to eliminate those. So we study, we learn for that. Student improvement. That's what we're about. Student achievement is what we do as schools, and so we really need to be interested in: are we doing our best to prepare our students for what God has for them in His future? And then collaboration is something that we can all be better at. Collaboration is the idea, obviously, of working together, but a collaborative culture supports student achievement over time. So we're not asking teachers to do something just to give them busy work, so to speak. We're asking them to do something that by itself can have a positive influence on their students and ultimately on how their students learn and what their students learn. The individualized steps to getting to improvement: first of all, we want to empower our people. We want our teachers, we want our staff who interact with our students to be able to share with us what they know, what they observe, both good and bad. We want to recognize that improvement and progress require a relentless focus. The idea of putting your hand to a plow and continuing forward, not looking back, not getting tired, not getting distracted by something else, but moving forward together. And again, the key there is mutually agreed upon goals that we can talk about and we can work toward together. This requires communication. The quote here is cascading communication. The idea, it flows down from one to another. We develop trust. We develop the ability to speak openly and honestly about the challenges I have as a teacher, the challenges my students maybe bring with them from previous classes, or the things that other teachers may have to share that I have not done as good a job in preparing my students to move forward as what I thought I had done. And so we're looking for areas that can help improve in that way. The last thing on the screen here, community and family engagement. The idea here is we must remember that these students belong to their parents. God gives students, children, to parents. He does not give them to nations, to states, to organizations. And so we have to involve the parents. And when possible, if we can involve commercial interests or those types of entities within our community that are willing to support us, we want to invite them in positive ways as well. They can give us things, they can give us money, they can give us resources, they may provide speakers for us on specific topics, but ways that we can utilize individuals outside of the walls of our institution, but who support what we do. So, as we start, we want to talk about some working definitions. We need to know what we're doing, and of course, we can come up with all kinds of really difficult, detailed definitions. But I try to keep them simple here, so we know what we're doing. First of all, professional learning is the process of exploring new ways to improve instruction. There's nothing wrong with the old ways. However, you sit and you listen to teachers talk, and one of the first things that'll come up is my students today are not the same as they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago or however long a teacher's taught. And a teacher realizes my students are different, but the teacher does not always recognize maybe I need to be different. So we're looking to improve instruction to reach that group. We're looking to improve methodology. When I first started, we had mimeograph machines. So, if you could get it to print, then everybody would be happy from the fumes of the mimeograph machine. Now we run them on a high-speed copier. Now we may put things on technology, on a projector in the classroom versus an old overhead projector. So methodology changes as the opportunities to use methodology changes. And then classroom management. We can all learn to do a better job of whether it's disciplining a child and keeping them in control or engaging a child. And so we want to look at those aspects. Reflective practice, we can take a long, long time to talk about reflexive practice, but the idea here is to be open and honest in looking at what I have done, what I can do, what we as a school are doing, what we as a school can do, and reviewing and looking for ways to move forward in our program, in our individual development. Student achievement is the academic workload, and here's the key, the performance demonstrated by our students. Many times teachers, we get in the idea that academic achievement is what I taught them, and they either got it or they didn't. But the actual achievement is what they are demonstrating that they have learned, whether it's on a test or it's in some type of informal situation where they're demonstrating, hey, I learned this in class and now I can apply it to my everyday life. Collaboration, and we'll talk about this a little more later, but the idea here is we're working together, and this is not just teachers working together, this is leadership working along with teachers and other staff who actively interact with our students to examine, as it says here, areas of weakness, also strength, which is a good thing, and to establish that common vision, that common goal. What is it we're shooting at? It's easy to hit nothing. If you just take a gun and go outside and shoot, I can hit nothing all day long. If I want to shoot at something specific, at a target, or if I'm, like, for example, if I'm deer hunting, I want to have something specific in my sight and not just randomly be out there aiming at nothing. And then the idea of continuous improvement, shared common characteristics of improvement approaches that prioritize local need or problems of practice. And the idea here is continuous. This is not a one and done mentality. This is the idea that we're tweak this, we're going to make a modification of sorts, and then we're going to reevaluate. Did that do what we wanted it to? Did it move us as far along as we wanted it to? Can we further that change and make even more of a positive difference in our staff and ultimately in student achievement. Now, the process we're going to use here is Kaizen, and this is derived from Japanese. You can see here it's two words in Japanese that mean good and change. So we're looking to change for the better, which is, what we're talking about here is improvement. The key here is that it promotes a mindset of small incremental changes. We're not trying to jump 20 feet down the road all at once. We're trying to take well-calculated steps. The idea here is to walk circumspectly. I want to know where I'm going. I want to know what I'm doing rather than just randomly running ahead out of control and getting myself and perhaps my school and my students into some type of difficulty because I did not properly plan what I was aiming at and how I was going to get there in a controlled manner. Now, the process involves identifying the root problem. And this is where we sometimes in education have a hard time. We're used to going to the doctor and I have this symptom, I have this symptom, I have this symptom. Okay, what are you going to give me? And hopefully it cures whatever's wrong with me. We don't want to do that. I mean, symptoms can point us toward the cause, but ultimately we want to find what is the root, what is the big issue here, and not just the symptoms. Then we want to address that problem. It doesn't do us any good to find it and then walk away and leave it. We want to fix it. Part of the process then is to, once we've decided, here's the problem, here's what we're going to do, we want to be consistent in the implementation. So many times we'll start something, we'll try it for a couple weeks, it either works or it doesn't work, and then we move on and we fall back into the routine that we had before. What we want is, no, we're going to try this, we're going to continue to try this, we're going to push forward, we're going to make this a part of our daily routine, our classroom routine. And then again, you can see there the continuous idea. We'll come back in a year, we'll come back in 18 months, whatever the cycle is, and we're going to look at, okay, did that get what we wanted to accomplish? Did it move us forward? And can we do better? Can we do more? What maybe new problems, hopefully small, but what new problems do we create that we now need to address to further our process? So let's start with professional learning. Professional learning is a term used to signify the ongoing development of pedagogical, our teaching skills, and the knowledge for those in teaching workplaces. Our classroom, our school, right? It's most effective when it is ongoing and collaborative. Now, we'll get to the collaborative part, but again, the idea there, it's ongoing. It's not a one-time cure-all. Right? Like we go to the doctor, he gives us medication, antibiotic, whatever, I take it. Hopefully I never have that disease again. Education can continue to improve. And again, if we're going to ask our students, whether they eat or drink or they take my test or my quiz or they do their homework, we're asking them to do all to the glory of God, then we have to be prepared ourselves to be better as well. The idea that you must improve, but I can stay where I am is not going to work. Right? Then it's characterized by a shared mission. So we're going to have to develop that. We're going to have to work together. And values, collective inquiry. We're going to have to ask similar questions. We're going to have to be honest, and we're going to have to accept the fact that, hey, when a question's asked, it's not necessarily directed at me because I'm a problem. It's directed at me for information. It's directed at me to share my experience so that we as an organization can get better. All right, so what's the root cause here as I see it within our school here at Temple Baptist? All right, the big problem here is with so many of us being veterans, right? We've taught several years. We've simply become comfortable in the fact that I know this material. I don't have to necessarily get my book out and review and prepare the way I did when this book first came out. All right, now if they revise it and I get a new edition, I'll have to do a little more work, but I've taught this lesson the same way for the last 5 years, last 6 years. I clearly know more than the students. I'm good to go. Right? We're comfortable. That's not acceptable. That's not doing our best. Right? So to correct this, what we want to do is we're going to arrange the staff into groups. Now, I'm not going to let you choose groups and you just all migrate to your friends or the people you're comfortable with. I'm going to put you in groups that are going to force you to have to maybe work with somebody outside your comfort zone. But while we're doing that, we're going to ask you to look at specific areas that maybe are new in the field of education. I'm really excited. We've got 3 brand new teachers. This is their first year. They just got out of college classrooms. Hopefully they can bring something with them and they can share with those of us who've been out of class for a while and say, hey, in my class we had this idea. And we can share from our experience, and together we can work toward learning together and improving how we come to class, what we bring to class, and our mindset for our students as we get there. Now, to ensure that we actually follow through. We don't just talk about this, we all have our little groups and then we go home and forget what was done. What we want to do here is as ideas are presented, and the ideas are going to be presented on a regular basis in our afternoon, after school meetings. As something comes up, we're going to say, hey, I want everybody to try this for the next month. I want everybody to try this for the next 6 weeks. Let's see what happens if we try this in 2nd grade. Let's see what happens if we try this in a 6th grade classroom. What's the difference And is it positive or negative? And if we like it, then we can implement it long term. But it's not, I'm going to try it tomorrow, and if it doesn't work, forget it. No, we want to do it on a regular basis. We want to push forward. Let's see where this takes us. Let's see if this makes you a better teacher. Let's see if this makes my students learn more easily, learn more quickly. Right, and then toward the idea of continuous improvement, we want to provide our staff, you, with the opportunity, if you would like, to work toward an advanced degree. We want to, if there's a seminar or something that's online, we want to help pay for you to take that, whether it's a CEU or whatever it is. If you think it would be beneficial to you as a teacher, we want to help you have that opportunity. We want to encourage that process and not just sit around going, I don't think I have time. No, we are always, as teachers, we always should be learning. Now let's talk about student achievement. Let's take the same approach here to student achievement. Again, student achievement is the academic workload and the performance demonstrated. That's what we have to focus on. So we can look at our Iowa test scores at the end of the year. That's one set of information. We can look at how did they do on their Unit 4 math test. How did they do on their Chapter 2 language test. Those are all helpful things. But we want to get beyond formal testing and get into how are they implementing what we're trying to teach them when nobody's looking? How are they implementing it when they go to recess? How are they implementing it when they're at lunch? What things are they doing well? All right, so the root cause here is that students are underachieving in specific areas of our program, and we're gonna look at some of those. All right, and again, we can talk about symptoms. Our students do not know their math facts. That's a symptom. Okay. What is the weakness in the program that creates that symptom? Right? Now, to address this, again, we're going to be in groups. We're going to examine the scope and sequence of our existing program, looking for specific areas where academic information is being left out. That can be because we changed publishers of curriculum at some stage. It can be due to I assumed as a teacher that the previous teacher already taught that, or that the next teacher will teach that, and somewhere in that process nobody ever gets around to teaching it. So we need to look at, and again, this is going to require us to be honest and open. What did you do in your 4th grade math class last year? What did you do in Algebra 1 last year? What did you do in 2nd grade reading last year that either helped eliminate or perhaps we left out and is partially a reason for why we're having a problem here? All right. Now, to ensure that we get started, teachers I'm going to require you to, within your lesson plans, include some of the recommendations that we're making for changes. I want to see that what we've talked about and where we've discovered a weakness and we're trying to correct it. For example, one of the things we can do to deal with students not knowing math facts is we can do math minutes, every day in class. And I can already hear you. I don't have time as it is. What are you going to make me do? No. Okay, we have to decide if this is an important element of our program, then this has to be corrected. And we're going to make time for it, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to have to show that in our lesson plans. And then towards continuous improvement, these groups, again, can be shaken up every year. Somebody may leave, somebody new come in, but we may want to, I may have you arranged one way for math, and then for a different way, I want to put different groups together to talk about reading or to talk about language and try to take advantage of where I see your strengths as a staff and putting people together so that we can accomplish that which we have set out to do. And again, the idea here is academic achievement is what people see in us. Academic achievement is what our students are known for. And we want here in Matthew 5:16 that men may see our students, see them as they are produced and become our graduates, and glorify not us as an institution, but glorify our Father which is in heaven, because He's the one that has enabled us to do these things and to make these differences in their lives. and it prepare them for, again, for whatever he has in their future. All right, collaboration. This is the key to everything else. We have to be able to work together. Co-labor. Right there, you see it in the word co-labor. We have to work together. Paul said we are co-laborers. When I think of collaboration, I think of Nehemiah. All right, they built the wall. He gets credit for it, but they built the wall, right? And you read Nehemiah chapter 3, and everybody's out there. Not just the subordinates, but the high priest is out there, and the other leaders are out there, and everybody's working together toward the common goal. What has to happen? We have to build this wall. And then in one of the great thoughts of all time, Nehemiah makes the decision. You know what? You have to build the wall that is going to protect your house and your family. All right. So awesome idea. You and your neighbors are going to work together. But again, you can see here, the idea here, educational leadership and staff will work together, will work. That's the labor. All right. And we're going to look for areas of weakness. We're going to establish specific subject area goals, and we're going to come up with specific steps to move us from where we are to where we need to be. All right. Now, part of that's going to be professional learning. We're going to have to learn what's out there, what's available to us. Part of that is going to be we've got to look at student achievement. Where are we falling down? Right. But the instrument to deal with both of those issues is we must work together. All right. The root problem is a spirit of individualism. I go to my classroom. I'm happy. I'm content. I don't care what you do. All right. Until your students become my students. But we're not understanding the overall program. We don't see where our class fits into the overall program. Now, we're really good at fellowshipping. All right, if we have lunch together or a program after school, y'all are great at standing around talking, laughing, doing whatever. All right, but fellowship is not collaboration. Now, fellowship can be a part of collaboration. We should enjoy the process, but fellowship in and of itself is not collaboration. Collaboration is 1 Corinthians 12. What part am I in the body of Christ? What part are you in the body of Christ? And how do we have to work together for the ultimate good of that body? Right? Now, to address this problem, we're going to, teachers and the educational staff, that's going to include me. I'm going to be on one of these teams. All right? We're going to be into groups, and we're going to be assigned specific academic subject areas. One group's going to look at math. One group's going to look at language. Right? We're going to come up with ideas of where our weaknesses. Why are we continuing to have this struggle year after year? Implementation. One team member is going to be responsible for reporting to me, and then we ultimately, in turn, are going to report to the entire group what's going on. What have we discovered? What have we, as we've discussed, where do we think we have gaps? Where do we think maybe even we've just flat missed it, and we need to work at correcting that. Then towards a continuous improvement, again, we'll mix the groups up from time to time. All right, I need your expertise as a reading person in that group, but now I want to borrow it and come out because we're dealing with another area where I think you are very well qualified to help us. And so working together in that way, all right, and we want these gains to become permanent. We don't want this to be a temporary thing, and then oops, next year we fell back into our old routine and we lost what we were working on. All right, Romans 12:2. Conformity versus transformation. We have to be careful that we are not so content with where we are that we're like concrete in a mold. I'm so set, I will not change. At some point, we have to be a little bit like Jell-O. We have to be willing to be shook up. We have to be willing to be reshaped as God sees fit to do that. All right, now just because it works does not mean it cannot be done better. All right, I've gotten some success. I've through however many years, but I could get better success if I was willing to make a transition. All right, new, and this is where some of us veterans have to really kind of swallow hard. New does not equal evil. Right? There are some new things under the sun, regardless of what Solomon said. And notice there are many new things under the sun being the Son of God, as he, through the Holy Spirit, teaches us how to better serve him. All right, our ministry, our job, which is our ministry, all right, is to prove or to demonstrate what is good and acceptable and perfect, not to me, not even to my students, and not even to my parents. All those things are important. But who are we ultimately trying to please? It's supposed to be perfect in the sight of God. This requires our best, not simply getting by. We're going to have to learn. We're going to have to work together. We're going to have to focus on how can we do what is better for our students to better prepare them.